And we appreciate a lot of all your help and speaking out. That's what we need to do. We have that right. And so here we are, the situation here today. I have our resolution that our council signed in 2006 that was sent to the National Park Service, that was sent to the Interior Department in October of 2006. What did the National Park Service read this resolution stating that in this resolution that it is a sacred site, Coldwater Spring? Again, a recognized government stated Coldwater Spring is a sacred site. Again, they did not listen to this resolution from a recognized government. So here we are. And another thing that was mentioned in this study, they also say, the National Park Service says, that there were some people that said a couple things about the origin of our people and the Coldwater Springs, of how our creation story and our people came out of that area where we stand on right now. But they didn't ask in the study any other of our people to tell the creation story of our people either. They only took 2 people and listened to them too. They didn't ask the rest of us about the creation story. That's wrong. That makes this study automatically wrong. The Interior Department should not look at this study and determine and give the National Park Service the right to do this process, because it was an illegal study, because they did not ask our Dakota elders and others out there the specific question of a sacred site. So that's part of what Lord Sue is fighting here and determined to get back. We have representatives and our own attorneys that are on top of this today. We are going to get, no matter what it takes, we will get this land back for all of our people. There's some things we need to do. We need to have our elders, and like my brother said, and what Chris would say, we need to have a ceremony. We need to sit down and smoke that chanupa and come from the hearts and minds like our old ones did. And then talk. And then talk about our creation story. So that we can all listen. So that we're all witnessing and hearing the same thing from our elders and our holy men of how our people did long ago. And why this land and this area is so sacred to us. This spirit underneath this water, underneath us here. Wakan Tipi right down here, where that Spirit Lake is underneath that cave. That's the Spirit Lake people are talking about. It's not the Spirit Lake up north. All of our language, when they talk about spiritual way places, it's always here where we stand in this area. It's not up at Mille Lacs or any place else. That's why this is a sacred spot. Because we know this is where our burial mounds are, all our burial mounds. Which brings up another question about burial mounds. You go to the top of the burial mound here on top of St. Paul, the mounds up there, and you'll see a metal sign saying that these are Hopewell people, some from the south someplace. How dare they tell the Mdewakanton people that these people under here are not Mdewakanton people?
That's right.
Oral story and history tell us that they brought us and would take us to that Wakan Tipi entrance and set them there for 4 days and in a circle, and they would come out and talk about that person in a good way of what they did, accomplishments in life. That's sacred to us. And that still goes on today in our ceremony. The same thing. That's all interconnected here. And when you talk about, Badote, the National Park Service says, well, that's only one spot. So probably just around where it is, that's all the only place that's sacred. It can't be Dakuwakan people. I just want to mention what my brother talked about from yesterday. We have to remember Daku's Kashtan, the rock, that spirit that's in our boulders. We have sacred rocks here, those boulders. Those are the first ones here before all of us. And that spirit is in there. Our border of our sacred area is where those rocks were at, and our people went there and laid their feathers down there, their chanupa, and prayed with that spirit constantly in that rock. There's a rock out by Shakopee. There's a rock here at Kaposia. Red rock over here that's still at the Methodist Church on the hill that they preserved for us. And other rocks before, farther away, farther distance. Those should be our boundaries, as my brother said. That should be the circumference of the sacred place. We can't get into any more of this because it has to be a proper forum through the ceremony. But I needed to mention this because some of the people in here that made these statements need to hear this. So we're kind of balancing here. What do we say and what shouldn't we say? Because in respect of our sacred ways. That has been the heart of our people, of our sacred people, holy men and women, to where the other ones that aren't with us should only know so much, and that's it. And from day one, thousands of years, and when they came over here in the last 200 years, our people closed that off because we have a right for our own spiritual way of belief and keeping that in our own society of Dakota people. And so that's where we have to know where we can talk about it in the ceremony. We have to follow those old ways and traditions. We can't tell the people in the National Park Service or anybody else about a lot of these things. So there is our dilemma, or in a certain way, because we can't explain that. But we have to keep in mind, for our children's sake and for the future generations, we have to make a lot of these things come out now, so that people in the National Park Service will understand what we mean, or the U.S. government, or whoever else, the state of Minnesota. They don't even know that Minnewakanans exist in Minnesota, a lot of people here. It took the Minnewakan people since 1862 to come here today, full circle for the first time. That war scattered us all over, along with our Wapekute people. They scattered us in all directions. And so now, for the first time since 1862, where you can come back to our sacred place and make our statement, because this is our origin. That's why it's so vitally important for us to stand up and speak for our particular band. We have to do that without disrespecting all the other bands. But we have to become understanding how we have to come together to what we have to face today in this contemporary time for our future children's generation to come. So I've been working with Chris and my brother Ernie and others